There's a new climate report that says emissions for last year were down, in fact, about 1% from 2022. But they're still much below the rate Canada needs to attain in order to reach Ottawa's emissions goals. Some sectors are improving, others getting worse. Let's bring in Marianne with more on what this report has found. Good morning.
Good morning. And this is from the Institute's annual emissions report, calling this a modest decline in carbon emissions. But it does mean that Canada's emissions are now 702 megatons of carbon dioxide equivalent. That's 8% lower than 2005 levels. And one of the sectors being credited for this slight drop is the electricity sector. This graphic here showing you the change in emissions by sector from 2005 to 2023. And the electricity sector saw a 38% decline from that year, thanks in part to advancements in renewable energy and coal phase-outs. Buildings there, they saw a reduction in emissions from upgrades like heat pumps. We also experienced a much warmer winter. But then there's the oil and gas industry, and according to the Institute, it still contributes almost a third of Canada's total emissions. That's up 12.1% from 2005 levels, all because of higher production. Now let's talk about the other industries, including transport. This is the largest sectorial increase, according to the Institute, up 1.6% from 2022, and that's because of a rebound in domestic air travel. That's something we saw increase, especially coming out of the pandemic. And then there's heavy industry. It's seen an uneven level of progress. Mining emissions are up, but emissions for lime and gypsum production are down. So there is some progress here, Heather, but according to the Canadian Climate Institute, it is not progress that is moving fast enough at this point.
So an interesting sector-by-sector breakdown. What does it mean? What does it all add up to when we look to the overall targets for 2030?
Yeah, because the target is to reduce emissions by 40 to 45% by 2030. That year is just around the corner, and according to the Institute, the government really needs to move faster, especially moving on and really pushing forward with its policy momentum, especially in the area of oil and gas, which seems to be undoing any progress other sectors are attaining. So here's more on that.
So it really is this sort of movement to heat pumps that are starting to drive the emission reductions. And then people are naturally upgrading their houses, and the new buildings are way more efficient. We have this sort of yin and yang effect where we're trying to, keep emissions down, but oil and gas keeps pulling us up, basically.
So oil and gas offsetting the gains of other sectors there. We know that the Minister of Environment and Climate Change has said that there are regulation drafts in place when it comes to oil and gas caps, and also when it comes to cleaner electricity. So we'll continue to dig into these numbers and these findings throughout the morning, Heather.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much, Marianne.